In 1992, Indian banks frequently ended the day with surplus cash that needed to be put to work immediately. To generate safe returns, they parked this money in government securities, essentially buying low-risk debt issued by the state. These trades happened directly between the institutions. If Bank A had extra cash and Bank B had extra bonds, they would negotiate a direct transfer. Because the government guaranteed the underlying assets, the banking sector operated under the assumption that this system was immune to default or risk. However, the physical reality of 1992 created a logistical bottleneck. Moving massive stacks of physical certificates between bank vaults was a slow, manual process. To keep money moving, banks used a temporary substitute, the bank receipt, or BR. This document confirmed they received the funds and would deliver the bonds later. Because these carried a major bank stamp, institutions accepted them without verifying the underlying securities existed. At the time, there was no centralized digital ledger, no real-time tracking of bond ownership, and no way to instantly verify a physical piece of paper. This reliance on institutional trust over technical verification left the back door of the banking system unlocked. Harshad Mehta was the broker who stepped into that gap, facilitating the deals between these massive institutions. Normally, money moved directly from Bank A to Bank B. Instead, Mehta diverted the cash into his own accounts. By exploiting the receipt system's delay and working with insiders, he hoarded large sums of capital, leaving banks with unverified paper. This gave him control over a massive pool of liquidity that was originally intended for the nation's most secure government debt. By manipulating the movement of these physical records, Mehta had effectively siphoned off the banking system's liquidity for his own use. Mehta took that hijacked bank capital and moved it out of the secure bond market and into the high-risk environment of the Bombay Stock Exchange. He began buying massive quantities of stock in specific companies, most notably the cement manufacturer ACC. The sheer force of his capital artificially inflated the stock. As his massive buy orders hit the floor, the lack of supply drove the share prices upward at an impossible rate. Retail investors saw the skyrocketing prices and followed the trend, buying into companies without researching their actual value or earnings. This market surge relied entirely on diverted funds, creating a valuation bubble that had no foundation in the actual health of the Indian economy. To understand the risk, imagine you give a friend cash specifically to buy you gold bars for your retirement. Instead of buying the gold, your friend takes that cash to a casino. Their plan is to win big, pocket the profit, and buy your gold later before you ever ask to see it. This works only as long as they keep winning. If the market turns and the money is lost, they have no way to replace the original funds or deliver the gold you paid for. This was the reality of the scam. Mehta was gambling with the bank's gold money, betting he could return it before anyone checked the vault. The trigger for the collapse was a demand for accountability. The banks finally asked for their money back or the physical delivery of their bonds. The inability to produce either led to an investigation that immediately exposed the chain of fake receipts and diverted funds. As the news of the fraud spread, the artificial demand that had been propping up share prices vanished instantly, replaced by a wave of panic. Thousands of investors rushed to sell at once, causing the market to enter a freefall. The crash wiped out billions in wealth, leaving small investors to bear the brunt of the financial destruction. An analog loophole, combined with a lack of oversight, had allowed a single broker to compromise the stability of the entire national economy. Attributing the 1992 crash solely to one man ignores the environment that made his actions possible. The crisis was the result of specific structural failures, a reliance on physical paper, the absence of digital cross-checks, and a regulatory framework that couldn't see past the broker's desk. The fallout forced a total modernization of the system. India accelerated the transition to dematerialized accounts and digitized ledgers to ensure every trade was tracked and verified in real time. Today's market operates on T+1 settlement cycles and digital depository systems, security measures designed specifically to close the gaps Mehta exploited in 1992. If you found this breakdown of systemic risk useful, like the video and subscribe for more deep dives into how systems are built and broken.